Now, back to the Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky.
Boom, 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 boom. Brian Baldinger coming up in 12 minutes on the Morning Roast to break down what happened in Denver between the Niners and the Broncos. Niners dropped to 1-2, losing 11-10. 11-10, and today we're talking about some of the questionable decisions, not only in that game, but some of the questionable decisions Kyle Shanahan has made, because there's a lot of talk. Damon Bruce said, the defense is getting wasted, not by Garoppolo, not by the rookie quarterback, but maybe by Kyle Shanahan. Baldy mentioned this back in August. It's like, they're going to miss Mike McDaniel. And then I hear Mark Willard, and he said, hey, if the Niners ever fire Kyle Shanahan, there will be a line around the block waiting on Kyle Shanahan to hire him. Now, personally, I wouldn't care about that, because we'd all be fixated on who the guy is for the 49ers. At that point, it'd be like, hey, Shanahan, happy trails. Good luck to you in the future. We're on to the next. But I'm not there with Shanahan. I'm not there on the firing or whatnot. But I'm seeing some alarming trends with Kyle Shanahan, Shasky.
Well, okay, just one thing.
Alarming trends.
I'm not here to fire Shanahan at all.
We're not. We never said that.
I want to ask you a question. Remove Shanahan. Just remove your emotion and your attachment to Shanahan. In terms of, there'd be millions of people lining up to go get him. Okay, fine. When you've decided to move off someone, in general, whatever industry it is,
you move off.
You can't worry about that person remarrying.
No doubt.
Right? You just can't. You have to worry about who you're going to marry next. And I just look at where the Niners are now versus where they were when they hired Shanahan. I feel like they're viewed around the league much better today than they were then.
No doubt.
You were coming off of 4 different head coaches in 4 years, leaks like crazy. No one wanted the job. You had to overpay. I mean, people were declining to even talk to you. I don't think that's the case now.
No.
So you cannot, if they I'm not saying they're going to get there, and I don't want them gone, but I'm just saying in terms of it being a desirable job, I think it's much more desirable today than it ever was when Kyle Shanahan was a offensive coordinator looking to interview for the job currently.
I'm with you. Here's what RG3 said yesterday about Jimmy Garoppolo, the 49ers. RG3 on Monday Night Countdown.
So, Steve, to your point, does Jimmy still give them the best chance to win? That question to me is very simple. Yes, he does, but it's only because Trey Lance is no longer available. All you guys said that Jimmy G was going to make them a better team right now than Trey Lance would, and I disagreed with you. And what you saw in that game is exactly why. The man went full Orlovsky. And you never go full Orlovsky.
And then throw the pick six.
I don't know what was worse, that or the pick six that got called back. So, listen, their recipe for success has always been protecting Jimmy by running the ball and getting it into Deebo Samuel's hands early so he can go get that yak yardage. And right now, without Trent Williams, that's going to be...
they're bringing up something that I kept saying the whole time while we're watching Jimmy G and during the summer, like this thing that we do this thing in sports. We listen to the dumbest argument and we prop it up. Trey's not ready. I hear that I'm out at a golf tournament yesterday, for a fundraiser for the Benedetti family, and it was an awesome day, and for the Junior Giants, and the amount of people, Trey's just not ready. Yeah. And I'm like, based off what have you seen?
Based off what?
What have you seen? But here's my kickback. Okay, Trey's not ready, which fine. You can have that opinion based off the 5 quarters, fine. Throw that to the side.
Does Jimmy look
Garoppolo
ready?
is a 9-year veteran who does not see the field.
Right. Does Jimmy Garoppolo look ready?
His football IQ is horrific.
Horrific. So let me jump in here because that's the thing I think people misunderstood from me yesterday. I was irate, not about the game, but about everything leading up to the game and the aftermath of the game.
Like what? The way we talk about?
The way we discuss Trey Lance saying, number one, he's not ready. I'd never believed that. I believe Trey was more than ready. What I saw in Chicago, I said, this is my guy. This guy's ready to take off. Now, things went awry in Chicago. Monsoon hits, game over. We forget the first 2 drives against Seattle. The Niners moved the ball like it was nothing. But the problem was Trey kept running. My biggest beef with what happened last week, and it started during the game, where people said, boy, Bonte, you got to admit, the Niners did look better with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. And I'm like, how are we going to determine that after just 5 quarters of football?
Because people, and I've now realized it, people are comfortable with what they've seen before,
Right.
and they associate disproportionately Jimmy Garoppolo's impact on success. And they're like, well, he was the guy who was there while we were successful, hence we have to do this transitive property thing where he's part of the reason, and so he stays there.
We did the same thing with the Warriors last year. People say, boy, Wiggins getting to the playoffs. I don't know. Jordan Poole gets into the playoffs. It's his first go-round in the postseason. I don't know. Is Looney going to hold up? Is he going to be ready?
You're right.
A lot of people said the Warriors wouldn't be ready. A lot of people said the Wiggins wouldn't be ready.
Well, it's these casual,
Poole didn't get ready.
It's these casual opinions. Like Steph Curry wasn't good. I mean, again, take Jimmy G off the side.
Right.
We said for how many months, years, as a national media, not you and I, but nationally, Steph Curry's done nothing in big games. When we all knew the data points and all the games, you and I have cited him over and over and over and over and over again.
He's been more than ready.
Yet the loud noise now supersedes the facts.
Right.
It's the same thing with Jimmy G. We have pounded in the head of people the win-loss record.
It's just, it's not only that.
It drives me crazy.
What else drives me crazy, too, is that we all salivate over Josh Allen now. We all salivate over Lamar Jackson now. They weren't ready when they first played.
No.
Well, they got better with reps. And then how many people go ahead and they put Herbert on this pedestal, and they put Herbert in the same class as Mahomes and Josh Allen, and I'm saying to myself, Kyler Murray's been to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now, I'd probably rather have Justin Herbert, but Herbert, he hasn't been to the playoffs yet. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson's been to the playoffs. Well, we just elevate Herbert because we see a couple of national TV games and he throws the ball all over the place. They've lost a lot of big games. And the game they lost last Thursday night, he threw the game-winning 99-yard pick on the back throw.
Well, what's crazy? No, you're right. You're 100% right. What's crazy is that we do this thing. Well, Jimmy was under center when they went to the playoffs. They don't even get to the playoffs last year without the Trey win.
No,
it's as if that game didn't even happen. It's as if that game didn't even happen.
So part of my frustration yesterday was,
and it wasn't a perfect game.
No, it wasn't a perfect game at all. It was until the two halves.
He was good
in the second half. He adjusted, and the Niners won that football game to give them a chance to go to the playoffs. The thing. And people were doing this in the thread. They were posting preseason highlight packages of Trey Lance against the Texans. And I'm like, why don't you post week 17 from last year against the Texans in the game that mattered? All right, let's get to Duke in the City. He's been waiting on the car radio. Duke in the City, one of our favorites here on the Roast. What's up, Duke?
Yes, good morning, y'all, man. Beautiful show, man. My brother and nephews, man. This is a great show y'all having this morning, man. My issue, man, is with I know, Shafky, you got Shanahan back, man, but the play calling is becoming predictable, man. You know what I mean? Everything that Shanahan does, you can see it's like the defense knows what they're getting ready to do before they even do it, you know? And then the relationship with him and Jimmy G, they don't have a relationship. That's why our offense is looking sputtered like it's looking, because the quarterback and the head coach gotta have some type of relationship together, you know, and they don't have no relationship at all. You know, Jimmy overthrowing people, he underthrowing people, he's throwing in the double coverage, he's backing out the end zone. He's doing nothing that an experienced quarterback should be doing after playing for 9 seasons, stepping out of the back of the end zone. I mean, come on, man. Mm-hmm. Now you can see why everybody won't Trey in there. Yeah, we won't Trey, but we stuck with Jimmy. That's what it is. We stuck with him at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's just what it is, y'all. So hopefully that defense catch up. The offense catch up to the defense, because it's going to be a shame to see the Super Bowl defense go to waste with an offense that's sputtering like they sputter. Man, they averaging 15 points a game. We 27th in the league in scoring, y'all, man. I'm out of here, man. I love y'all, man.
And they were 20th last year, Duke. They were 13th last year and 21st the year before. They've never, outside of 2019, if you take 2019 away, because that was a spectacular season, they've never been higher than 13th outside of 2019. They've been 13th, 20th, 21st, and 28th so far this year. And you could say the quarterback, you could say the injuries, you could say all those things. But we hired Shanahan because he was a great offensive mind, right? Mm-hmm. And his offense has been anything but great. It's been, hey, let's play smash mouth football. Let's not turn the ball over. Let's hand the ball over to our defense and stuff it out. Does that sound like a great offensive philosophy?
No, but it also feels very limited because of the guy that you got pulling the trigger. And it's hard for me to sit here and visualize what it would look like with a better quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what it would look like, B. Here's the biggest issue.
And again, part of that is on the coach.
That's the personnel.
For having think about this. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in 2022 when since 2019, midway through.
The Viking game.
Not even the Viking game. The first Packers game, when somebody called the post-game show from Oakland and said, Bonte, the game should have been a bigger route, but Jimmy missed throws in the first half. I said, they won 37-8. What are we nitpicking for? We're not allowed to nitpick when we have been garbage for years. I'm saying that about the 49ers. Yeah. We've talked about Jimmy for 2019. How long have I yelled, Shanahan, go get your guy? Been doing this since 2019.
Isn't that easier said than done? Like, the Jets have been trying to get their guy for 60 years.
Yeah, but you know what? They take chances on other guys. They pivot really quick.
Yeah, but they're also dysfunctional, and they
are
lose a lot.
dysfunctional.
You're trying to win at a high level and not get fired.
But they pivot quickly.
No, that's true.
On the quarterback.
The biggest problem with Jimmy, like I've talked about, the football IQ, it just drives me nuts. When you play a veteran, okay, the cliche is, well, the veteran's going to minimize the amount of horrific things that could happen on the field. And yet when I watch Jimmy, more times than not, I feel like he is not minimizing turnovers at all.
Right.
Like, he's one of the reasons why they put themselves in very disadvantageous situations on the field.
Yep.
And that's the biggest problem that I've gotten. I feel like we've assigned all of the veteran attributes to Jimmy, yet I'm not getting all of the veteran output that I'm looking for. Reducing turnovers, putting this team in drivable situations where they can throw down the field, minimizing sacks, all of the big-time net loss plays.
Making third down throws. He
didn't make any.
No, let's not. Let's get Baldy in a minute and a half. Let's get Vince for 30 seconds. Vince, you got about 30 seconds here before we get to Brian Baldinger. Vince, in the city, on his radio. What's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, so real quick, just wanted to say I think this is on Kyle because we had a chance to get Tom Brady, but his ego was too big to let someone else take over the offense. And just a kicker, I said last week that Jimmy G was the Andrew Wiggins, but he's playing more like Shane Falco. Thanks, guys.
Any problem, Vince? Good call there.
Replacements.
Good call there. Brian Baldinger joins us every single week at 7:30 here on the Morning Roast. He has some thoughts on the game in Denver Sunday night. One of the uglier Sunday night games we've seen in a long, long time. Broncos win 11-10. Niners dropped to 1-2. And it's a lot of doom and gloom this morning here in the Bay Area. Let's get to Baldy, Spadoni.
He breaks down plays better than anyone.
I mean, this is like Shark Week now. And you know what Baker Mayfield is? He's chum. Look at these sharks. You think you're getting away from those four angry sharks? It's Shark Week. It's time to eat. Make the read urgency. That's the name of the game right here. Urgency. Now, on it. He's on it. Touchdown. Beautiful throw.
He's our 95.7 The Game NFL insider, Brian Baldinger.
Baldy on the roast, looking dapper as ever. On Twitter, at Baldy NFL. We love talking. Look at the collar. Look at the blazer. He's ready to roll here. And look, Baldy does it down. I was loving his breakdowns of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was like, damn, look at the Jaguars flying around. Look at them play offensive football. They're running the ball, throwing the ball. Well, let's stick with the Niners here. And Baldy, right off the rip, I'm going to play a cut from what you said back when you first joined us for this football season back in mid-August. Here's what you had to say about the 49ers losing Mike McDaniel.
I could be wrong in this, so maybe I'm misspeaking, but I think he was the highest paid assistant coach in the NFL. Like, they didn't want to lose him. They never wanted to lose him. They didn't want to lose him in Atlanta. Like, he knew the value of Mike. Because he's like, look, it's Revenge of the Nerds with Mike. Because he's willing to put 15 hours in a film room to find one motion that's going to work on Sundays that's going to take Luke Kuechly out of the mix, and you're going to run right by him. Like, his ability to see how a defense reacts, anticipate how a defense is going to react, and then you counter that reaction. Like, he just had this skill that not a lot of people have.
So I want to ask you, Baldy, right off the rip, through 3 games, how much are the 49ers missing Mike McDaniel? When the Dolphins are 3-0, Niners are 1-2, and they look very, very predictable on offense.
I agree. I mean, I thought they would miss him, and I think they are. It just looks very beige, this offense. I mean, if you've got to put a color to it, it's just flat. I think Mike McDaniels is a big loss because what Mike does, nobody's really willing to, even if you're willing to put the time in, you don't know really what you're looking at. He just has that skill. And I thought you can replace a running back coach. You can replace a run game coordinator. I mean, they get replaced all the time. But now somebody that is willing to do what Mike did. And so I thought it would show up. And look, you had one explosive run by Wilson. You're on your third running back. We understand that. One explosive run. Otherwise, I mean, they were struggling to get 2 yards a carry. And so it has looked like that for much of the season so far.
Baldy, it's just so many places that I want to start. Let's start with the play. You're at the 1 yard line, and I don't know if it's designated as a screen type of a play or not, but from the rip, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Now, Shanahan has run a play-action play with Trey Lance at quarterback in the preseason from his own end zone, and that's aggressive, and I know a lot of coaches would never do that. But from the rip, that play felt like it was doomed. Break down that play for us.
Well, it was a play action. I mean, there's a couple things if you're going to do that type of play. I mean, there's two things that I wouldn't do if I was a coordinator. Now, obviously, Kyle's, he's the real guy. But, you don't run screens typically, and you don't run play action because any kind of an offensive penalty in the end zone is a safety. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, put your foot in the back of the back line. You have an offensive tackle that just grabs somebody who's getting beat, and it's a safety. Like, there's just too many danger points about a play like that. That's why most teams, they'll even quarterback sneak from the 1 just to get you some breathing room, just so that what happened doesn't happen. And so, Purcell, split him inside right there. He got pressure right up the middle. He was a hard guy to block for him all night as it was. So there wasn't great protection, but that's one of the things that you really fear. Your quarterback turns your back to the defense in that part of the field. You can't afford a mistake. And honestly, the safety was better than throwing the interception and the pick 6 that Bradley Chubb had. So it's like, pick your poison. Would you rather give up 6 points or give up, 2 points and then the ultimate field goal? A 5-point play for the most part.
Well, and so obviously we can.
And they lost Trent Williams on that play.
Well, that's where I want to go. Like, obviously we can rip the quarterback. He's got to know where he's at on the field. The coach. Why are you calling that? You lose Trent Williams. That play felt like it changed the game completely. Obviously, the momentum of the safety, but then Jalen Moore comes in and he can't guard nobody, and they're just searching right now. How big of a loss is the Trent Williams one? Because I just don't know how they're going to be able to operate.
Well, even if they're a left-handed team, they like to run to the left because Trent's there. Mm-hmm. And just because you just never know, how many different people he can eliminate on any given play just because of the style of play. But even when they cut back, even when they run to the right, I mean, Trent's ability to just take guys out of the picture on the backside opens up cutback lanes. So, and then, if you're down there on the goal line, you want to try something like that. At least if you have Trent, on a play, you feel a little bit better about turning your back to the defense if he's kind of anchoring your left side. I mean, he's the highest graded offensive lineman in the league last year. There's no backup now. So Jalen Moore comes in and another play action pass, which I didn't agree with him out there. And Randy Gregory, their best pass rusher, beats him cleanly. So now you put McKivitz in there. Now you're on your third tackle. It's just, every step you just kind of, you just weaken the group up front that was already trying to find their feet and trying to come together as a group with 3 new starters in there right now.
Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game joins us every single Tuesday at 7:30, and we love Baldy because he breaks it down better than anybody out there. You talking about the decision-making of Kyle Shanahan, the play-action passes, and we've questioned the decision-making since he started with Trey Lance to start the season and some of the plays that he ran with Trey Lance. But I want to get to Jimmy Garoppolo because he is a veteran. And last week, Baldy, when he replaced Trey Lance after he suffered a broken ankle, Jimmy said after the game, it was like riding a bike. I felt comfortable. The players felt comfortable. Huddle felt comfortable. This week it was, not having training camp and OTAs and, I'm not really in game shape. We don't really want to hear that. But what about the decision-making of Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback for a veteran? I saw a guy look like a rookie out there on Sunday Night Football.
Well, I mean, when you can't convert a third down like they did until, I don't know, maybe the second to last drive, I mean, that's bad offense, period. Now, it was a bad offensive performance all night, but, it always falls on the quarterback. I mean, there's a reason why they're the highest paid people on the field. The quarterback has to make decisions. The offense has to move. You have to fix things. Even if the play isn't right, you've got to make it work. Your decision-making, your accuracy, what you do with the football in your hands is why we basically watch the game. I mean, if you get backup scrub quarterbacks, it's unwatchable football in this league. I mean, so you saw it last night to a degree, from the Giants. I mean, your quarterback running around scrambling isn't offense.
No.
You might get first downs, but it's not offense. The offense, the quarterback's job is to get the ball to your wide receivers. They're the second highest paid players. They're playmakers. You got to get the ball to them. Like, even when it's 11-10 in the bottom of the ninth, with 2.5 minutes to go in the game, like, just go down. You're at midfield. It's first down. You can't throw the ball where he threw the ball in the middle of the field like that. Like, he knows that. Now, the left tackle, like, they couldn't pick up a Josie Jewell blitz to save their life all game long.
3 for 3. I saw your breakdown. 3 for 3.
The guy struck gold on 3 basic blitzes. They just picked him apart. Like, you can't let that happen. So, but you can't throw the ball in the middle of the field. Like, throwing the ball in the middle of the field in the crowd is you get done exactly what happens. The ball gets picked. It could have been picked a couple more times. Like, every time, as a fan, you guys, and me too, you see a ball tipped in the middle of the field, the first thing you think of, here we go. Yeah. Bad play, interception. Like, almost always. So that's why some guys don't throw the ball in the middle of the field, unless they have a wide open target. Like, don't throw the ball outside the numbers, all that. They won't even try it because of all the different hands that are in the way sometimes.
Baldy, I'm watching Jimmy G the other night, and I'm saying, God, he just can't see the field. And it's like the decision making. It's just... It's so erratic, and we do all these like winner attributes. He's a winner. He wins games. And like, to me, the thing that we always talk about, he's physically limited. What about his mental makeup? What about his decision making on the field? For someone who's played as long as he has in this system, am I right to say, like, what is he thinking out there? How are they not getting the ball to some of these playmakers? Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, like, they got guys out there, and yet I feel consistently the defense is 2 steps ahead of him.
Well, you just go back to the last interception. That interception, like, I've seen, like, I was just in Tampa this weekend, Brady and Rodgers going at it. Okay, the ultimate decision makers. But I saw, like, that was the first down throw that Jimmy had intercepted at the 47-yard line. Like, I saw both Brady and Rodgers, when there wasn't something there, just throw the ball on the ground. Like, literally, I'll go to second down. I'll throw it into the seats. Like, I'm not forcing the ball. If that's the only place I got to go right now, I'll throw the ball into the ground, and I'll go to second down. And I felt like sometimes that's the best thing to do, is just throw the ball away and go to the next down. Yeah. And the other thing is, this has been going on now for a while, not just this, since George came back this week. But, like, I just don't feel like they call his number and they have plays for George. Yeah. Like, what am I looking at, Joe? Like, I just don't see. I see these tight ends in the league.
Thank you, Baldy.
It starts with Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Like, I see these guys, and they're calling plays that everybody can watch. Clear outs, 3x1s, flex them, in motion, delay, tight end delays. Like, I see these plays for tight ends around the league. Now, you made him the highest paid tight end for a day in the whole league, and I don't feel like they use them at all.
I'm totally with you, and it drives me kind of crazy, to be quite frank. I'd love to see him used more in the red zone, and just in general more. But, like, the big counter argument is he's such a great blocker, and, they don't have great protection, so you have to keep him in. And I'm like, I understand there's a balancing act here. He just doesn't get targeted enough for me. Like, they don't run specific plays to free him up because he is a mismatch nightmare.
When teams are in man coverage, and you get them into man coverage, whether it's first down and they got the safety down to try to stop the run, whatever, and you're in man coverage, like, you got to call plays for George. You just do. Like, he's too good with the ball in his hands after the catch. I don't care if it's rub routes. I don't care if it's delays. I don't care if it's tight end screens. Like, I just feel like, even though he was active and healthy last week, I understand the injury, but, like, he seemed like he was just invisible. Yeah. But it's not just last week. I felt like that for much of the season last year. And really, since he set the receiving record for, yardage record by a tight end, I felt like they've kind of just gone away from him.
Yep.
And it's not because there's Ayuk and Debo.
Yeah.
Like, they get their targets. Like, look, Patrick Surtain threw a blanket over, Ayuk. He's that good. All right. So if you know that, well, where's Kittle? All right, if Surtain can, like, just basically blanket your ex receiver out there, then, like, let's start calling some plays for Kittle. I just feel, and I know George's a team player to never say anything, but it seems like they're not taking advantage of a really good player.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got some numbers here for Kittle just on Sunday, Baldy. 51 to 56 snaps 51 and 56 snaps. He lined up on the line of scrimmage next to a tackle 38 times. He was only in the slot 8 times, lined out wide 4 times, once in the backfield. That's not enough. You got to move him around here. I saw your breakdown with Kyle Pitts. He's in the slot, running wheel routes and mossing guys down the sideline. We want to see that from George Kittle. And then we want to see a little more from Debo. Shanahan talked about how teams are stuffing Debo in the run game. They look predictable, and they've got to make an adjustment. The cat's out the bag. The cat's out of the hat, right? Everybody knows when Debo is freaking in the backfield, it's a run play. How do they get more creative with getting number 19 the ball instead of just at the line of scrimmage on either smoke routes, wide receiver screens, or just straight up handoffs?
Well, it would help if they could keep running backs healthy. So, Mason gets a carry, goes 7 yards. I just think you got to get some healthy running backs so you're not putting him in that position where he is so predictable. And it can kind of change up. Put him back there, but still throw the ball. Have different formations with him and a running back in the backfield. Him and Juice in the backfield. Various combinations where it's not so predictable. And then they just got to do a better job blocking up front. But you're right. If I'm defending the 49ers and I see Debo back there, I got every alert in the world going. The ball's going to 19. I got it. All right, we're going to treat him like a running back. We're going to, we'll be in our gaps. We'll be gap sound. And we're not going to let him get these splits and hits that we saw him get through the second half of the season last year.
I want to ask you about the defense, Baldy, because they are playing lights out, and we should be spending more time talking about Hufanga, Fred Warner Jr., Drake Greenlaw, this defensive line.
Jackson's first sack.
His first sack. Kinlaw's playing well. Givens playing well. Bosa's Bosa. The 2 corners on the outside. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want D'Amico Ryans leaving after the season because he's got these guys humming, Baldy.
They're as good as anybody in this league. And I just saw Tampa. They're awesome. Green Bay is very good. Philadelphia's playing lights out, good defense, right? There's a lot of teams that are playing. The defense is way ahead of the offenses in this whole league right now. But the 49ers, when I watch them, I don't think there's a faster defense in the league. Their speed at linebacker is second to none. There might be a faster linebacker than Fred Warner, but nobody reads a play faster than Fred. You watch them on the defensive line right now, they are chasing everything down. They are so good. They've given up 1 touchdown in 2 weeks right now. And really, the only time that they have really gotten beat, and it started in Chicago, is when they go up against a quarterback like Fields or Russell, where they hold the ball for 5 or 6 seconds, and they kind of take a nap. When the guy's just kind of running around out there. That's how that receiver, what was the kid's name?
Hinton, I think.
Yeah. Number 9.
Yeah.
That kid Hinton, like Emmanuel Mosley kind of went to sleep a little bit. Russell's out there running around, and they got a 27-yard play on that drive that they end up scoring on. That's how Dante Pettis scored against Chicago. The only time they have broken down is when these quarterbacks extend the play for a long time. And then they kind of blink. They don't plaster the receivers. And that's how these plays have happened. Other than that, and it's happened 3 or 4 times this year, other than that, they're as good as anybody in this league.
Baldy, on your way out the door, what's the identity of this offense? This year, if you were just looking at it through 3 games, because I know we want to run the ball. I feel like they got a couple of chunk plays and then a whole lot of nothing. What's the identity of this offense right now?
I think the identity of the offense is their defense, just giving them good field position and getting the ball back to them. Wow. You think about this. Just on 12, they had 15 possessions. But on 12 possessions on Sunday night, they had a first down or less. 1 or fewer first downs on 12 possessions.
Unbelievable.
Wow. So if you ask him, what's the identity? The identity is, you fumble the ball at midfield on a quarterback center exchange, the most basic play in football, and the defense gets you the ball back in 3 plays. Their identity right now is their defense. If the defense takes the ball away, forces a punt, like they've been doing for 3 straight games in a row, that's when the offense is basically feasting. Other than that, I can't give it to you, Joe.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Real quick, Baldy, before we get you out of here, Monday Night Football, Rams-Niners, rematch of the NFC Championship game. People have kind of fallen asleep on the Rams after they got blown out by Buffalo in the season opener. Got back-to-back wins. Held on for dear life against Atlanta. Atlanta's a sneaky team. And then, of course, beating the Cardinals down in Glendale, Arizona. Where are the Rams at right now? How are they looking to you over the last 2 weeks?
They got flaws. They're not great right now. But they went through a dip in the middle of the season last year where they didn't get a win for a month. They lost 3 games, had a bye week. They didn't win a game in a month, and they came out of it. But the one thing I think you can count on, and this is just who he is, like Stafford's going to give you 2. Now, they had the ball on the ground all day the other day. They couldn't recover a fumble. Like the ball's just dribbling in front of them. They couldn't get it. There are going to be opportunities for loose balls and interceptions, and they have to be. They have to take advantage of it. You know, it's like watching the Warriors play basketball. Like if there's a loose ball, the Warriors get the ball. Like that's what they do. Like it's more than just Steph hitting threes. It's more than fast breaks. The ball's on the ground. The Warriors get the ball. And if I was the 49ers and I was coaching that team, I would show them Golden State Warrior clips of them getting every single loose ball and keeping balls alive. Like, because it's the same thing. The ball's on the ground, it's your ball. Like, get it. Recover it. And so Stafford's going to give you 2. You've got to catch it. And so that's how the game is going to flip, and that's how they win the game.
Baldy, I'm now envisioning you, me, and Bonte courtside with Bob Myers going to a Warrior game when the NFL season is over, and I want Baldy to do some Baldy breakdowns on Draymond Green's pregame routine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll do that. And I'll break down every single shot in pregame from Steph because I've been watching it now for a decade.
Oh, man.
Like nobody takes as many shots in a pregame than Steph Curry does.
Oh, man.
From every angle. I've seen him off the court.
Yes.
Hitting balls from behind the backboard.
Yeah.
Oh, he's unreal. And the champs are back. They had D-Day on Sunday. We got to make that happen.
Make that happen.
The champs are back
make
on
it happen,
Sunday.
Joe.
Let's do it.
I'll make the special trip.
I know.
I'd do that in a second.
House of Prime Rib.
I love to ask you, Baldy, because I know you're in Tallahassee. See him on Nose last week. Snuff out Boston College. You were in Tampa Bay. Where are you at this weekend? Where's the double dip happening?
I'm right in Vegas this weekend. Denver and the Raiders desperate. If they go to 0-4, I mean, just bury them. Just put them in. Just put them in the crypt. So they're trying to dig themselves out. Max Crosby and company. The quarterback's got to get a little tougher in the pocket, man. He's just got to stay in there.
No doubt. That's a big one.
Good.
Our technical producer, Joe Spinone's a big Raider fan. He's depressed right now.
He's ready to
fire
McDaniels.
everybody. He's ready to fire everybody, Baldy.
I understand. The relationship between Carr and Josh isn't off to a great start right now.
No doubt. Baldy, you're the best, man. We always love your breakdowns.
See
I'll
you,
do it
bud.
again next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
See you, man.
All right, Baldy. Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast.